beers, and backroads. And this is the podcast that celebrates everything beyond the city limits. And I'm your host, Jamie Allison. And today's guest really brings a cool aspect to us, a kind of small town spirit, some really rugged style in apparel, and a whole lot of creativity as well. So Alexa Gamache is the founder of Northern Bronco, and that's a brand that's quietly building a real loyal following now across North America, which is really cool. It kind of captures the essence of rural life, the forest, the fun, all that kind of stuff, the music, all of those things that I'm sure we're going to get into. We're going to talk to her a bit about her journey from small town Ontario, and being able to build this brand and how she turned it into a real mission-driven brand as well. So first of all, Alexa, thanks very much for joining us. I know you're in the middle of the cleanup from some snow last night, so thanks very much for joining us.
Well, thanks so much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, well, first of all, why don't we talk a little bit about your background and how Northern Bronco was created, but maybe give us a bit of that kind of backstory of your own personal journey to get there.
Yeah, no, that sounds great. So honestly, this is not a path I ever thought I was going to take.
Yeah.
I have a global development degree and I also did a law certificate at school. I'm also not one to, I don't know, one for fashion. I never felt creative in that way. I'd pick something out at the store and my sister would be like, do not wear that. So like when it comes to that, I would never think that this is a path I would have taken if you told me 5 years ago. But I've actually kind of lived in a few different small towns across Ontario. My mom's an OPP officer,
Mhm.
so she's moved quite a few times, and I've always lived in a rural area, basically the country. We've always been on a piece of land somewhere, which I'm so grateful for. So I've got to kind of experience, yeah, rural Ontario, but hours away from each other.
Yeah.
And I think the one thing that never changed was like the bush, the rivers, the fresh air, the lakes, the night sky. Like those things for me always stayed the same.
Mhm.
But yeah, other than that, I had a very interesting childhood, I would say. I grew up in a home with a very abusive parent, and that was something that I kind of had to navigate and really fight for myself and defend myself. And
Yeah.
I actually escaped that relationship when I was 22. And this is kind of the year where my brand started to come together. I think I was in third year university, and I had this idea that I wanted to make a movement or do something to make the world a better place, but I couldn't exactly figure out how. And I knew that given the fact that I have PTSD and anxiety from what I went through, I was like, I can't be a doctor. Well, there's no way I'm going to be a police officer like my mom. Like I watched her have this crazy career. I knew I wasn't strong enough for that. Um, yeah, I didn't want to work in hospitals. Like, I didn't want a job like that. So I was like, how else can I help?
Mhm.
And I kind of just dug deep into what I was passionate about. And I had been going through counseling and therapy and my own self journey and trying to figure out and navigate life and where I was going. And I was like, shit, maybe I could take what I've learned in the past couple years and kind of put it into something. And yeah, one thing that doesn't get talked about a lot is family violence. So I was like, okay, I kind of kept that in the back of my head. But what has made me the most passionate and the most proud is being from a small town.
Mhm.
And I think if you meet somebody from a small town too, they just happen to carry those characteristics of like determination and resilience and hard work. And we just value like the little things. And that's what I learned moving from all these small towns is that like you share those qualities no matter what small town you are across Ontario and I'm sure across Canada, which I've learned with so many people loving the brand. And I think like we work so hard because we don't get the opportunities that city people do. And we might only get one opportunity, so we give it our best shot. So when it comes to things like that, those values just happen to stay the same. And I think when you come from a small town too, you don't feel like you're a part of something bigger than the small town is. So I just was like, how can I kind of put these two things together? And I worked on a logo for a couple of years and then like literally a couple of years. And then finally I came across the moose and the cowboy. And I think the moose was definitely from the move to Muskoka. That was such a big, like, we had moose where we were from before, but not like here.
Mhm.
They walk in our backyard here, which is the coolest thing. So I
Yeah.
think that's what really made that push. And it's such a resilient creature. So it made a lot of sense. Um, but yeah, so I was on the computer like making logos for yeah 2 years I think, and then I
Yeah.
saw that one like messing around, and I immediately locked my screen, and I'm like, this. I
Yeah.
feel something when I look at this, and I'm so happy that so many people from small towns got that as well. And then a year later, I was able to share my story and tie the two things together, and here we are. So it's been
Yeah.
definitely an interesting journey. At the start of this year, I had three jobs, and now this is my full-time job, so it's pretty freaking cool. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm so grateful that it just caught on the way that I wanted it to.
Yeah. I mean, very cool that you bring up the resilience part of it. I think too that how much of your success this year, since you went from, okay, I had three jobs. I mean, anybody who has been an entrepreneur or is an entrepreneur knows that especially the early stages can be a real struggle to be able to get things moving and feel like it is moving. So, how much of the resilience from the things that may not even have been very, they may not be great things in your past, but how much do you think has pushed you towards being able to get to where you are now in that short period of time?
Oh my God. I think, well, one thing I always say is like I never have any regrets because I think that the person I am today is from what I went through. And I still believe that, especially coming from a small town, a lot of the people that I grew up with don't go away to university or college.
Hmm.
So I'm not like you need to go to school to be, the best person you have to be. I think like truly experience is the best education. And when it comes to like what I'm doing, I think that what I went through is really pushes me to become and make the brand become exactly what I want it to. And I've also learned that every single thing about this is a learning lesson, especially because I never thought I would be a business owner. Like my parents aren't business owners. It's not something that I know a lot about. So honestly, like I just have a lot of faith and I think I'm like super optimistic. So every time, I've hit a challenge, it's like, okay, I just got to work a little bit harder. I just got to change a little bit of what I'm doing. But I've definitely taken a lot of risks. So I was bartending at night. I worked for Habitat for Humanity, which is a great organization, by the way.
Hmm.
And I liked it, but I just was really just so passionate about Northern Bronco that I was like, I need to get out of this because I wanted to be able to put all my attention into Northern Bronco. And that was also another push, I think, too, was like,
Yeah.
if you want to do this, you got to do it. And I knew it was going to be hard. And some days it's still so friggin' hard.
Yeah.
But I think the little wins also keep pushing you forward. Like when you have a really good day of sales or somebody shares a story on social media or messages you, love what you're doing or this inspired me or something, like that stuff kind of keeps me going
Yeah.
throughout the year. So, and it's got me to here. So I'm really
Yeah,
happy about
yeah,
that.
yeah. And you've grown a lot from a couple of different things, and maybe just finding out kind of how you decide upon that because you do a lot through obviously through social media. You do kind of a fair amount there and connecting with the right audience there. But you also have done things like going to country music festivals and going to university campuses, things like that. That obviously that's your kind of core group that you're targeting. So talk a little bit about that, about how you've created that platform that people obviously resonate with. I mean, you even had, I think, Ella Langley recently kind of respond, which is probably
So
pretty cool.
cool.
That's probably pretty cool, especially with the group though that you're targeting, because that's obviously one of their favorite singers at this time. So tell us a little bit what that was like, but also just how you've built that kind of real community around the brand.
Yeah, exactly. Well, honestly, I think and it just comes like from small town people. People are like, I don't know. We just don't care. We like to have fun. It's the wild, just the rebel in the small town people. That's where the cowboy kind of comes from that's on the moose. And that's something that I also like. I don't want to pretend to be somebody or make Northern Bronco superficial or like, oh, let's go take our pictures in a studio and like have a green background. Like I want everything to be real because I think that that's what's going to set me aside from brands that, are starting up and the brands that have been going. Like I want to be unique. And I think that those types of things is what makes people passionate about it. But yeah, when I moved up to Muskoka, the Boots and Hearts Festival was super close to where I live.
Mhm.
And I'd always hear like when people talk about it when I originally lived in Ottawa and somebody went, it was like, oh my God, this person went to Boots and Hearts. That's the coolest thing ever. Again, a small town thing, like when someone leaves. So I went for my first year before I had started Northern Bronco, and it was like the coolest thing ever. So I kind of had the idea to go back, and I love to give things out to people that are having a really good time or just like who maybe will make some good content. And I've tried to do that now every single place we go. We always give something out. The Norfolk Fair, we met up with the grand champion. He was so sweet. So I think that's just one of the best parts about the brand too, is just doing that and giving back. It's so much fun. But yeah, I think like I have a wild side. I love country music, and I've just like went out there and met up with people that I had no clue who they were, and I just had so much fun. People tend to know us, some people don't. Some people show up wearing our hat and we're like, "Oh my God, like come be in a clip, whatever." But it's just like that type of crowd is just exactly my target audience. And as well, like with my prices and stuff too, like some people are selling a hat for three times the price that I am, but like as much as I'd love to like become a luxurious brand, like I want to my target audience to be the rural community. Like
Hmm.
I want to be for people like me as well. So I'm trying to stay on that level and not go somewhere or someplace that I'm not. But yeah, so this summer we did a mullets for merch. I don't know if you saw that video
Hmm.
at Boots and Hearts, and it was just so much fun. But
Yeah.
yeah, and I think with social media too, it's such a yeah, you have to be thankful for it when you're a business owner, because the way you can access such a large audience so fast and all over is crazy. But with Ella Langley, I really just took a risk. Like I knew they were coming to Kingston.
Hmm.
I was living in Kingston at the time. I did a deep dive into the Slush Puppy Center, I think it's called now. Found a lady on Instagram, sent her a message, and I got in contact with their team, and I was able to put stuff in all of their dressing rooms.
Hmm.
But yeah, I just assumed that they, not like in a bad way that they threw it out, but they can't carry it on their bus across,
Sure.
North America. So I
Sure.
didn't assume any of them took it, but she happened to take it, which was like amazing. I didn't think Riley Green would have, because I saw a video like a month later and he was in his tour bus and he's like, for some reason, all these people just keep giving me hats. So I was like, he doesn't care. But I got one to her and she's like, I look up to her so much and she's incredible. So that was the coolest thing for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. No, yeah. And I'm sure it helps that kind of elevate the brand that way too, just
Oh, of
in
course.
people being able to see it,
Yeah.
which is kind of cool too. Um, so the other side of it is obviously being an entrepreneur like that. At this stage, maybe you don't have much balance, but how do you kind of keep your own balance that way when you're kind of trading your time for building a brand? Like the reality is, you can do as much time as you want to being your own kind of business. So how do you keep balance in your life and still be able to do social things and do stuff that just make sure you kind of keep your head on straight, I guess, while you're doing that too.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's funny that you say that, because I do live in such an isolated place.
Hmm.
I have a few friends in the area, but they're away at school.
Sure.
So like I think the sacrifices of me like being home, being back with my family, but also being away from everybody definitely is like a little tough.
Hmm.
But like I just keep having the mindset that like this is gonna work out, this is gonna work out. Like these are the sacrifices you have to make, like in order to make this work. But I've had some really cool opportunities come from this that I don't think I can talk about right now. But
Hmm.
well, I guess I can kind of say basically we shot like a pilot for a TV show this summer, which was a really cool thing.
Yeah.
So if that takes off, like that would be amazing. But the sacrifices I had to make staying up here and filming and doing that, also working my store, all this stuff, but like things like that might never come from somebody from a small town is so cool. But yeah, I don't know. I definitely don't see people a lot, and I know this age is like 20 to 30. It's like travel, go see the world.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely like my sister has asked me to come on trips with her a lot. She's been traveling this whole year actually for like 8 months. But I'm
Yeah.
like, I can't, because if I do this, this is peak time for me. Like I got to put the work in now, so hopefully I can enjoy that later.
Hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm very hopeful, so I'm just doing as much as I can right now.
And so, Alexa, one of the things is that when we talk to people, it's finding out a little bit about, are they goal setters? Do they write everything down? Do they kind of do it that way? And with you, especially being an entrepreneur and also kind of, figuring out your own personal stuff, what's your approach to that? I mean, are you a write everything down goals kind of person, or do you take a little bit as it comes? How do you approach that?
I feel like because this was not the path that I ever expected I was going to take, this entire process has been a learning lesson, from selling the first hat to having my shop this summer and everything in between.
Yeah.
So honestly, I'm definitely just going with the flow. And when I have an idea that comes to mind, I will write it down. and try to, I don't know. I get on things really quick, and that's one thing that I think can be a good quality, but maybe also bad quality. But I try to get everything done, and I'm always doing something, and I'm
Yeah.
always trying to fill my time. So I think, yeah, just I'm always going in that direction, but I don't know if I have an exact plan.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and kind of going along with that, then, if you've built a real community around your Instagram, we talked about that a little bit, but for somebody out there who's because you've been really successful at it, about kind of being very authentic and being able to build that type of brand, other entrepreneurs that are kind of looking to do things like that, do you have any tips as somebody who's kind of you're still early in it, but you've also done a good job in a really short period of time. Do you have any kind of tips or things that have really worked for you to be able to build your brand so quickly in community?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a couple things that I think about when I think about building a community, and obviously social media has been a big help. You can't deny that. But I actually got a piece of advice from a fellow business owner maybe a couple months ago, and he said you really have to invest in yourself. And I kind of realized when I was focusing on my business, I had my business in the front seat and myself in the back seat, when I kind of forgot that I am Northern Bronco and I'm actually in the same seat, but I was separating myself. And right when I actually started putting myself in the shoes of Northern Bronco, I realized I was making such a bigger difference and such a bigger leap. People want to see authenticity. They want to see you. They want to see the face behind the brand, especially at a time with social media when so many people are creating brands. I think the biggest thing that I've really tried to follow is to stay true to yourself and stay true to your brand and your mission and whatever you're doing. And that's why, like, you see a lot of our photos are taken, not in a studio. I don't want green screen. I want it to represent exactly what it's intended to represent. Um, as well as just like you'll see with our social media, I feel like I'm taking authenticity over quality when it comes to like advertising or whatever it is, because I'd rather somebody see myself
Yeah,
than, a hat in a studio and trying to represent something when anyone can put a hat in a studio. So I think really just like stay true to yourself, take risks because you never know. Like we chatted about earlier, we got a hat to Ella Langley, Dylan
yeah.
Gossett, his band, and this was all just through social media. So I would say stay true to yourself, be authentic, and take risks.
And so, is there something in being, you've been having to, as an entrepreneur, you have to learn everything because you have to learn the back end of your business, you have to do all the front end of the business, all those things. Is there something that stands out as, wow, that was a lot harder than I thought it would be, or wow, that was something that I didn't even realize was part of owning your own kind of brand and business. Is there something that stands out for you?
I think I would say just day to day, just trusting the process. And some days are going to be harder than others. Whether, you don't have any sales, but the next day you might have 15 sales and it's like, whoa. Or just really believing in yourself because you might have a lot of people around you not believing in you, especially when you're just starting something out. People might not believe you until it starts working. So honestly, I'm just like trying to stay positive and trust in what I'm doing and where I'm going has been the biggest thing to learn, but honestly, like the biggest blessing as well, because I feel like I'm learning so much.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And so, a couple of quick questions. This is just more the kind of thing we ask everybody is that, obviously, we talk to a lot of people who are about kind of cottage and country living and all that stuff. And I know you live in the country, but the other thing is obviously when you get your friends around in the summertime and things like that, do you have a favorite kind of cottage activity or something you like to do more than anything
Mhm.
else during the summertime or wintertime, I guess, depending on kind of what you do. And
Oh, I would definitely say I love a good campfire with my friends. Somebody playing guitar is so fun. Under the stars, obviously, when it's dark. I
yeah,
think swimming too is so much fun, and I love to fish as well, just like whether we go off a dock or in a canoe. I just love doing that with my friends too. So I would
yeah,
say that.
cool. Okay, and do you have a favorite meal? Like when you're doing all that, is there something that you just think, okay, when you think of cottage or lake life or whatever you think of, that this is the meal I think of?
Yeah, okay. If I'm drinking, I'll say a hot dog around
Yeah,
the fire is classic. But I do love like waking up and cooking breakfast in the morning, like outside on the
yeah.
grill with a coffee is always good fun.
Yeah, cool, cool. Okay,
Yeah.
so obviously lots of people probably already follow your brand, but if they haven't followed your brand or want to find out more about kind of some of the things that you have going on, what are the best ways to do that?
Yeah, so if you guys want to check out what products we have available now or a little bit about our story, you can see us at northernbronco.ca online. Our Instagram has a lot of day-to-day stuff and what we're doing. That's Northern Bronco as well. And then if you want to see some behind the scenes kind of crazy stuff, you can follow us on TikTok at Northern Bronco as well.
Awesome. Okay, and we'll put all of those links in the show notes. So if you miss those, go in there. Some great stuff, great products, and really, I think aligns really nicely with our listeners. So I know you're busy this time of year. I know getting everything kind of shipped out and all that fun stuff, Alexa. So thanks so much for taking the time with us today. Really appreciate it. And to everybody else, if you haven't hit subscribe on the podcast, do that now. We have great people like Alexa every week. And again, thanks for taking the time and sharing your story with us.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me.
Okay, and everybody else, we'll talk again soon on boat spears and back roads.